Welcome back to another episode of Mental Cement. I'm your host, Candice Kelly, and today we're doing a follow-up from the podcast with Briana Harper, news reporter from WSOC TV, and she's going to talk with us a little bit about kind of her personal life, her journey here, and what it's like being a news reporter, a businesswoman, and just a young adult. So how are you?
I'm doing well. So I have been here in Charlotte a little more than 2 months.
Okay.
I'm born and raised in North Carolina, though. My parents and all my family still lives in Asheville, North Carolina. I went to school at UNC Chapel Hill, go Tar Heels. So North Carolina is deep in my blood. I have an older sister who lives in Knoxville, Tennessee. She's a nurse. Really, a lot of people in my family there have like a medical field background, so I'm like the lone journalist in the family. But yeah, basically, being in a new city, I was familiar with Charlotte because I have a lot of friends who live in Charlotte. I have a lot of friends who actually work at other stations in Charlotte.
Oh, very cool.
So, I'm familiar kind of with the news side of it, but, actually living here, I've wanted to live here since, I graduated from Chapel Hill. So I'm glad to finally be here, and I'm trying to get used to it. I live in South End, so I've been kind of, walking and checking out new restaurants and, just different ways to kind of become more acquainted with, the area. Because I feel like there's just, I've only been here 2 months. So there's I've probably just scratched the surface of all there is to explore. So we'll see what else I can get into. If you have recommendations, let me know. I'm a foodie, so restaurants, I have a whole list. Let me know.
What's it like just moving to a new city, trying to meet people? You have some friends here, but is it sort of awkward trying to navigate that social space?
It can be at times. I feel like it helps having my coworkers. A lot of them, they'll say, "Oh, come out with us here," and having them kind of as the safeguard. But then, once you're out, you can meet new people. I think always helps, and especially in South End, a lot of people are already young professionals, so we're kind of all in the same wave, and a lot of them may not be from here as well. So just kind of being able to have a person to go grab lunch with or get a drink with is always helpful. You just gotta, because I struggle with this sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta put yourself out there. Just go to the bar and just kind of sit and start up a conversation with someone, and you'll be surprised of who you'll meet and kind of what stories you'll run into. So I'm trying to do better with that.
Definitely. How do you balance that work life, kind of still learning the job and still getting your footing and figuring out if this is the place you want to stay? How do you balance that?
I'm still trying to figure that out with my work schedule because I work evenings. So that's 2 to 11, which is usually, people don't understand when I'm like, yeah, I'm at work. They're like, it's 10 o'clock. I'm like, I know, this is news. It does not stop. So I'm still trying to kind of balance that. But luckily, a lot of my friends, they understand my schedule, so they try to kind of work with me and, oh, you going at 2? Okay, well, you can't do dinner, so let's do lunch. Or, I know you work weekends, so let's try to do something on your off days. So I'm still trying to balance that a little bit.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What tips would you give to someone who's maybe just starting out in their career? They're not feeling super confident, and they don't want to lose themselves, but also they want to, do a good job.
Right. I just would say stick to it. If you kind of have your heart set on something, if you, and this doesn't just apply to journalism, this applies to anything, because I know just kind of when you're in college, you're trying to figure out what do you want to be when you grow up, that question that everyone always asks you, and a lot of people are still trying to figure it out. So I would just say, if your heart is set on something, go for it. Try to meet people who aspire or that you can aspire to what they're doing. Network. You're going to run into some roadblocks. That's going to happen. And have that, as part of your plan. This is not going to be it's not going to be easy, but stick to it, especially if it's something that you really want.
What are some of your goals? I know you're out here trying to make this news the best it can be. Are you interested in trying to move up?
So in our business, I'm a reporter. A lot of people like news lady like that. I'm a reporter. And, the people who are inside the studio at the desk, they're anchors. I would love to aspire to that one day. But even going a step further, aside from just local news, national news, CNN, kind of being a correspondent at a higher level. That's kind of my end goal. But I also love Charlotte, so I'm also like, I don't know, maybe I can just stay here and just work my way up. So we'll see.
Definitely. Side note, do you watch Being Mary Jane?
Yes.
How accurate is Being Mary Jane? Is that news life?
Parts of it is. I mean, it of course is kind of like exaggerated a bit for TV, but I mean, there's the parts of the business being cutthroat. Not to that certain degree, but there's some things that people get fired for certain reasons, or managers see a different direction with their shows, and that happens. You just got to be on your toes and be prepared for looking for that new job if it's necessary. Yeah, Being Mary Jane, she has a struggling life.
Yeah, it's something. I don't know how much you want to associate with that life.
I know, yeah.
Well, that's cool. Well, Briana, thank you so much for sitting down with us today. If you haven't already, check out her podcast. She goes way in depth with journalism, with why it's important to watch the news, with some tips about networking and mentors. So be sure to check that out. Thanks for sitting down with us today.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next week.